Hello, my friends. It's August 14th, 2017, and it's time for today's big story. We got a really interesting one to talk about today because there's all kinds of things going on behind the scenes, and I don't know if too many people are paying attention to it, and it's certainly worth paying attention to. So Night Trap came out a long time ago, FMV game. A lot of people are like, that game sucks, not very fun, blah, blah, blah. I know, but it is a very important game for the video game industry. It's one of the main reasons why we have the ESRB right now. Game ratings came around because of the legal battles that were going on with Night Trap and also Mortal Kombat, but Night Trap was a very big one. So, I think game ratings are an important thing to have. I think that's a good step forward for the industry because content should be rated because there's games that aren't meant for children. So Night Trap played a huge part in that and brought us to at least part of the industry that we have today. So Night Trap has never been on a Nintendo platform officially. There's never been a release of Night Trap. And the developers behind the game are working on a 25th anniversary edition, which is coming out tomorrow, I believe, on PS4. Might be Xbox One, PC, I think, as well. But 25th anniversary edition is coming out. And when it was first announced, there were people that wanted to see the game on Switch. And when the developers were contacted on Twitter, they said, yeah, we want to do it. We don't have anything official to say. And that was the start of a really interesting story. So the developers weren't just saying, yeah, that's a cool idea, and then, just ignoring everything. They were actively trying to bring the game to Switch. And it seems like they had something worked out. The game was going to see release on Switch, and then Nintendo ended up backing out of the deal. According to the developers on Twitter, they say when they got the official okay from Nintendo, just 2 days later, Nintendo backed out and said, it's not gonna happen. The game's not coming out on Switch. And a lot of people were like, it's because of the content in the game. The whole same controversy that came around the first time. But Nintendo has themselves published games that have way more graphic, violent content than Night Trap ever did. So I didn't think that argument really made sense to begin with. And the developers came out later on Twitter and said, no, it doesn't have anything to do with that. It's the timing of the release. Now that's something that ties in with other developers. We've heard from multiple developers that they wanted to bring games out on Switch and they wanted to be there at launch or shortly after launch. And Nintendo said no because they have games that are, I guess, somewhat old. And Nintendo didn't want people to think that the Switch was only getting old games. But obviously we know there's a lot of ports on the Switch eShop, but it's all about the time frame of when they were released, like when they came out. If it's a game that's 6 months old versus Night Trap, which is 25 years old, it's a bit different. Obviously it's a silly discussion, and Nintendo probably shouldn't be taking it to the extremes that they are, but this is what's going on. That's what the developer confirmed on Twitter, so it seemed like we just weren't going to get Night Trap on Switch. That leads us to today, where Nicalis, a publisher who has brought multiple games to Switch and brought them to retail as well, showed interest in bringing Night Trap to Switch. Nicalis' Tyrone Rodriguez on Twitter says, Night Trap is sold out, congratulations, how about a Nintendo Switch physical version? Let's do it. And they tweeted Screaming Evil, which is or Screaming Villains, I'm sorry, the company behind the 25th anniversary. And they said on Twitter, hey, we reached out, we tried to make it happen, and we were declined. And Nicalis said, hey, let's talk a little bit further. Reach out to me. We'll try and get something to happen here. So it's clear that Nicalis thinks, we can make this happen, and they want to do a physical release. Now, the developers were also asked about a physical release on Switch a while back, and it was a wishy-washy response, but obviously they'd like to do it. So now Nicalis thinks that they can make something happen. So that happened today, like just an hour ago. So the team behind Night Trap and Nicalis are now talking to try and bring the game to Switch, which is pretty cool, but you have to wonder if it's actually going to happen because the game has had so many stumbles trying to make it to Switch so far. Seems like it's going to be impossible. Backup368 on Go Nintendo says, what difference would a different publisher make? Well, it's a different situation here. Like Nicalis is saying, they want to do physical. So obviously we come out on the eShop as well. But we don't know what the deal is for physical games. Maybe a company has different avenues to go through if they're going physical first. Maybe if it's just eShop, they wouldn't be allowed to do it because of the timing issue. But if you're willing to put your game out at retail, or you can put your game out at retail, there's a different set of rules. And then again, Nicalis has had all sorts of games in there that are somewhat old and new and really old, like Cave Story. So whatever Nicalis was able to do, it worked for them. So if anybody would be able to get this game out on Switch, it seems like Nicalis would be able to do it. So like I said, today's just day one of the conversation, but hopefully something happens. Like I said, I know Night Trap isn't the best game, but it's an interesting game. It's a cool part of history, and this 25th Anniversary Edition really does a lot of unique, interesting things with the game. There's brand new modes. We're getting the best quality footage the game has ever seen in release. We're getting new content that never released in any other version, so there's some cool stuff in there. For a collector of video games, or a fan of video games, or someone who's been playing games for a long time, it's a cool piece of history. And to have Night Trap on like a physical Switch cartridge, I like that. I would like to have that. So I'd definitely be on board to pick this up. Let's hope it happens. I don't know if it's gonna, but we'll keep our fingers crossed. Alright, my friends, that's today's big story for August 14th, 2017. Thanks for watching, liking, subscribing, and commenting. It's very much appreciated. I'll be back tomorrow for whatever tomorrow's big story is, and I sure hope you'll join me to check it out. So until then, have a lovely day and a lovely evening, and I'll see you in a few short hours. Hey guys, RMC here from Go Nintendo. If you like what you saw in the video, why don't you give us a thumbs up and maybe even subscribe? We'd love to have you. If you want to see what else we're up to, you can check out GoNintendo.com for 24-hour Nintendo news. You can visit us on Facebook at Facebook.com/GoNintendo. You can check us out on Twitter at Twitter.com/GoNintendoTweet. And we're even over on Instagram at Instagram.com/GoNintendo. I put all the links in the description just to make it easier for you guys to follow. Thanks a lot.